In the last session, we have seen the snapshots, right? I mean, in the last few sessions, we created the RDS database instance, and also we gone through the snapshots, like what is the automated snapshots, what is the manual snapshot, and also we have seen the point in time recovery. And by end of the yesterday's session, we have a database instance, right? One database instance is running. Let me see here. So one day we have already one database instance, right? This is our RDS database instance, which is MySQL. And the database name is, I will say, MyDevDB, right? This is the database name in which we already having 7 records of data. So actually, what is the purpose of the database? The purpose of the database is to store the data so that the front-end application can read the data from the database. Let us say here, my website is running here. I can say this is going to be the application. And whenever the developers designing, they design in such a way that it is going to be the two-tier architecture. Like one is in one server application is there, and in the another server, the database is there. And the application is connected with the database, right? So every time the user is browsing something from the web UI, web interface, the application will load the data, which means it will execute some kind of select query. It will fetch the data and it will display on the user. If the user is uploading some information, modifying some content, or editing his personal details and all, the same thing will be updated into the database. That's how any application works in the real time. Here, the problem is if thousands of users are accessing the application, out of those 1,000, there are few select queries, there are few, I mean, there are some read operations, there are some write operations and all. All operations will be executed on your database. Before proceeding further, let me get into the RDS service. Where it is, yeah, Aurora and RDS. Just I would like to show you the role of the database instance, which already we have created. The role of the database. Did I delete it? Okay, I'm in a wrong region. Let me switch to the Northern Virginia region where we have created all our databases and all. Okay, so here, what is the role of the database instance? Sorry, what is the role of our database instance? Is just instance. So here I will say the role is instance. A single instance. We have a single database instance. So whenever more people, I mean, more queries are executing by your application, there is a huge load on your database instance because we have only single database instance. To avoid that, what we have is we have a concept called a replica. We have a concept called a replica. What it does, the replica is a read-only database. That is also known as a read replica. The replica is a copy of your RDS database instance, which replicates the data asynchronously from this particular existing database into the replica. Let me write down the things here, then I will show you. So we can say replica is also known as a read replica. Replica is a copy of your RDS database instance. Is a copy of your RDS database instance that replicates data asynchronously. There are some synchronous replication and asynchronous replication. It will replicate the data asynchronously from the primary to, or I can say from the primary database. The primary is nothing but the source. Let me show you this. So how it works. So here I would like to create a replica. So from this database, a replica will be created. This is the replica, and always the replica will be in the read only mode. What does that mean? Here there are like multiple users are accessing. There are 1,000 queries to be executed, right? 1,000 queries to be executed in the database by the application. Out of those 1,000, let us say 700 queries are read queries, 300 queries are write queries. So what the developer will do, whenever there is a write query, that write query will be executed on the primary database, and all the read queries will be executed on the replica. That's how you can reduce the load on one database instance. And one more thing, whenever you create a replica from any database, the role of the database will be a primary. We will see that also. And the replica's role is a replica. Whenever you create a replica from any database instance, the role of that particular database instance will be primary. It will earlier it was instance, and then it will be changed to primary because it acts as a primary database for this replica. And one more thing, the replica will always run in a read only mode. Even we will check that if you try to uh, create some data or update some data in the replica, which will never happen. All the data will be replicated from the primary. What is the main purpose of this replica based on the discussion? I can say it is mainly used for scalability. I can say read scalability means distribute the read queries or read traffic across replicas so that we can offload the read traffic from the primary. So we can redirect all the read traffic, read queries, and the traffic for read operations. We can redirect to the replica so that the performance of that will be improved. And also, there are multiple use cases for this. What if suddenly this primary got crashed? It got deleted. This is the worst case or lowest possible case. Then we have all the data on the replica, right? But it is in the read-only mode. We can use this replica for a disaster recovery also because we have all the data. Just we need to make the read-only mode into read and write mode. That's it. So sometimes we can use this for disaster recovery purpose also. We can use this replica for a disaster recovery. How? Whenever this primary fails or it got crashed or we delete it manually, accidentally, automatically this replica will becomes an instance. It will never replace your primary. It will become it will act as a standalone database instance. Simply what we have to do, we need to ask our developers to direct or to point your application to this replica, which was already promoted to a standalone database instance. So it will be removed, and this is used for both read and write operations. That is what the disaster recovery. The replicas also can be used for disaster recovery. Okay, now you have a team, I can say BI, business intelligence team. The purpose of this particular team is to generate reports on a daily basis or an hourly basis and to perform some kind of analytics based on the data. Let us say if Amazon online store is there, they want to generate some reports like every hour how many sales are happening in each category, how much revenue is getting. They want to generate some reports. What if this user connects to the primary database and he execute the queries to generate the reports? Unnecessary load on your primary, right? So what we do, we will ask your reporting team to use the replica to read because they never modify any data, right? Reporting team, what they do, they will use the existing data to generate the reports. So they will access the data from the replica so that we can reduce, or we will avoid unnecessary load on your primary database instances. So here I can say, for reporting purpose, we can use the read replica, or analytics, running some queries for data analysis without affecting the production. It will not impact your production application performance and all the things. So disaster recovery or fail over setups. We can cover both the things. These are the use cases of the replica. So first, what we do is create a replica from the database. What is the database name? PIT recovery. That's just a name, PIT recovery, and observe that all the existing data replicated to the replica one. I mean, create a replica in the sense I will name it as replica one. How to check all this? First, create a replica for PIT recovery database instance. Then connect to replica. The name is going to be replica one, and observe all 7 records exist. Then what we do, create some also also observe the roles of both database instances. Before creating, what was the role of the PIT recovery database? After creating the replica, what is the role of the PIT recovery database instance? Both we will observe. This is just a name. This is just a name like ABCXYZ. It is just a name like ABCXYZ. It is nowhere related with the point in time recovery concept. Okay. How to do that? Just let me log in. This is our AWS account, right? So this is the PIT recovery. What is the role? Just an instance. Just an instance. Now, how to create the replica is, select the database instance from which for which you would like to create the replica. Then click on actions. Here you can see one option called create read replica. Click on the create read replica. See here, you are creating a replica database instance from a source database instance. This new database instance will have the source database instances, DB security group, and everything from the source database. What is the source database? I mean, the source for the replica, PIT recovery. PIT recovery is the database instance name, which is going to act as a source. Now, the name of the replica, I would like to give the name as a replica one. And choose all other things you have to configure, like instance type, in which region you would like to create. What does that mean? You can have the replica in any region. Okay. Storage, choose the storage. And also you can create multi-AG replica. Like you can have a standby replica and all the things, but we don't know what is a multi-AG yet. So first, let us complete that replica concept. Then you will understand multi-AZ in the next coming session. Let me go with single AG. Publicly accessible. You can choose availability zone. And just scroll down. You can select the logs if required. And there is no option to enable backups and all the things, right? There is no option to select retention period for the automated backups. There is no option to choose a database name, because the database name will be automatically taken from the source database. Create read replica. Let us see what is going to happen. So what happened to the status of the source database? It was changed from available to modify. Why? The role got changed from instance to primary, and now it is creating a connection between the source and the replica. And it will create a replication between these two database instances. During that process, the status will be shown as a modify. That doesn't mean you can't access this particular database. Even though the status is getting modified, the data which is available in this particular source database is accessible. If you want, you can check. How? Let me open the SQL Yoga Community Edition tool, which we installed. Let me connect. This is the database, MyDevDB, tables, students info, open table, 7 records, right? These 7 records will be automatically replicated to the replica 1. Again, it will take some time to create the database instance, finalizing the asynchronous replication. In the meanwhile, let me write down a point. We can create the replica in any region, irrespective of the region of the source database instance. And the moment we create a replica, the role of the source database instance will be primer. Earlier, it was just instance. Instance means a standalone database instance, which doesn't have any connections or what we call that, the replications and all. Okay, now I have a question. How many replicas I can create? Now, what we have done, we have an existing database instance, right? This is the existing database instance. And now the role is a primary. And here we created a replica. We created one replica. The name is going to be replica 1. And this is in Northern Virginia. And this is also in Northern Virginia. And if you want, you can create in any other region. If you want, you can try. I will say replica 2, and this is going to be in Mumbai. Or you can create even like this also. You can create like this also. What it is? This is called as a replica of a replica. Okay, now the question is, from a single database instance, how many replicas we can create? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, replica 6. How many replicas we can create? Any guess? So actually, for everything, there is a limitation. But as a beginner, where we can see all these limitations, right? There's the most important thing. So here, one second. For every service, there is a limit. And we can classify that into soft limit and hard limit. Soft limit means which can be changed according to the requirement. Hard limit in the sense you can't change it. For example, you can create maximum 5,000 IAM users. There is a hard limit which you cannot change it. And coming to the databases, by default, you can create, I guess, 40 databases, right? This is a soft limit, which you can increase. So here, if I go to, let me show you the list of the things, limits and all. There is a page. So here, where it is, something called limit increase request. With the help of that, we can increase that. There is a page where we can get all the limits and all. AWS soft limit. Even for EC2, for everything, there is a limits. Let me check for the documentation page. Even on your console also, you can get that information somewhere. I can't recollect that. Okay, sorry, here it is. Okay, I don't want to go with the Google search also. If you click on your account ID, you can see something called a service quotas here, right? You need to click on the service quotas. And here, click on AWS services on the left side. And what we are talking about RDS. Let me click on RDS service. It will display the limits, soft limit, hard limit, default limit, and all the things. Now, what we are trying to check, let me say database, sorry, DB instances. DB instances. What is the default quota? 40 is the default quota. 40 is a default quota. Let us say replica, read replicas. How many read replicas we can create? 15. 15. Let me click on that. Earlier it was 5 only. They increased that from 5 to 15. Adjustability, account level means you can create 15 read replicas across all the regions in your AWS account. This limit is not per region or per availability zone. Okay. As of now, we have used just 0. As of now, we have used just a 0. See here. If you want to increase the limit, you can like this. You can need to click on request, so that request will go to Amazon and they will approve it. And let me show you one more thing. IAM, Identity Access Management, the first service which we covered. And users per account, the last one, right? What is the quota? 5,000 is the default quota value. And what is the adjustability? Not adjustable, which means it cannot be changed. It is a hard limit. It's a hard limit. You can't increase the number of users more than 5,000. Now coming to RDS, what happened here? And let us say replica, adjustability, account level. Yes, it can be adjusted if you need more than 15 replicas. But here, why I displayed in this way is this is also possible. In that case, we need to know the rule, how it works and all the things. Okay. So here, replica one already we created, right? What is the role of the replica one? The role is a replica. Right? The role is a replica. The role is a replica. I don't want to create these many, just for understanding purpose, I have drawn these many. The moment once you create a replica from an existing replica, what happened to this role? Definitely, this is not going to be a primary. It is not going to be a primary. What happens is it becomes source, comma, a replica. What does that mean? Replica 1 acts as a source for replica 3, and also replica 1 acts as a replica for the primary database instance. So first thing what we have to do is let us go to our RDS and let us identify whether the database has got created or not. It seems it is status is modifying. I guess it might be available for access. Okay, now how to access? Click on the plus symbol, new connection, new. I will say replica 1 as a name to the connection. Then here you need to enter the endpoint. That one. See here, available. Replica 1. It is the endpoint. What is the username? Same username as the primary. I'm connecting to the replica 1, which we just created. So here now I am on the replica 1. Can you see the database name? MyDevDB, tables, students info table, right click, open table, and you should see 7 records. Means all the data got replicated from primary to secondary. Also observe the roles of both database instances. Already we have seen, right? The primary and a replica. Now, what I do is, let us create few records in the primary database instance and observe that the data got replicated to the replica 1. How to do that? Just go to the primary database, which is PIT recovery. Let me write 8, name 8. Ninth entry, name 9. Another record. So total I added 3 more records, right? Total I added 3 more records. Now I go to replica 1, see here, and just I will do a refresh so that it will fetch the data from the database instance. See here, means it is asynchronous replication. The moment once the data got created, immediately that will be replicated to replica 1. If I create replica 2, it will get all the 10 records. If I create replica 4, automatically it will get all the 10 records. Let me create replica 2, replica 4, and replica 3 also, so that we can observe what happens if this got deleted. Okay, right. So now what I do is create a replica 2 from an existing replica. I'm going to create a replica. Sorry, it is a 3, right? Okay. Let us go with as per diagram. Create another replica called replica 2 from the primary DB instance. Means this one. This time I will create in Mumbai so that you guys might understand that we can create replicas in any region, in Mumbai region. Okay, let us go with this one first. Let us create replica 2, this one. And this is going to be in Mumbai region. How to do that? Just go to your RDS, select your the database instance from which you would like to create the replica. Actions, create read replica, and I will name it as replica 2, t3.micro. Region, I will select Mumbai. Where is Mumbai? Asia Pacific. Hyderabad, Malaysia. Here it is, the first one. Means the replica is getting created in Mumbai. So all other options are going to be same. Public access, yes, I want to publicly accessible. Okay. Yeah. Click on create read replica. Now the read replica 2 is going to create in Mumbai region. Obviously, it will take a 5 minutes of time, minimum 5 minutes, right? The moment once it got created, we will verify that. In the meanwhile, let us create the replica 3 from replica 1. Means like this. Let me make it clear. Uh, this is our primary, right? Which is in Northern Virginia. And from here, we already created replica 1, and then we created another replica 2. This is in Mumbai, and this is in Northern Virginia. And now we are going to create like this. This is going to be replica 3. And now the role is this primary, and the role of this is replica, and this is a replica, right? The moment once we create this, we will observe the role of this particular database instance. Okay, right. So now let us see how to create the replica 3. To create from where we are planning to create the replica 3 from replica 1, right? So for that reason, what I do is I select the replica 1, click on actions. Can you see create read replica option? No. It seems it is not showing you the option to create a replica from an existing replica. But what I said, we can, right? The reason is by default on the replicas, no automated backups enabled. By default, no automated backups enabled. Let me show you. Click on the replica 1. And here, if you click on maintenance and backups, can you see what is the automated backup status? Disabled. So to create a replica, you must enable automated backups. Even if you don't enable, if you don't enable automated backups, if you don't enable automated backups on the primary database instance, even you can't create the replica from here also. So if you want to create a replica from any database instance, you must enable automated backups. So here, let me write down a note point. To create a replica from any database instance, automated backups must be enabled with at least 1 day retention period. Because few people might say, okay, I will enable it, but I will set retention period to 0. Technically speaking, automated backups were enabled, but with no backups exist. That's why at least 1 day retention period. So right now, we don't have automated backups enabled on replica 1. So first step, enable automated backups on replica 1, and then create replica 2, sorry, replica 3 from replica 1. Until you enable the automated backups, you can't create a replica from the replica. Okay, right. So now let us see how to enable. How to enable the automated backups once the database got created is click on the replica, I mean the database instance, then select maintenance and backups tab. And here you can see it is a disabled. Just make sure that it is disabled. Then click on modify. And if you scroll down, what is the backup retention period? It is already enabled, you can see here. But what is the backup retention period? 0 days. Make sure it at least 1 day, then continue, apply immediately, and modify DB instance. And modify DB instance again, which will take a few minutes of time. So instead of wasting the time, what I do is we have replica 1, replica 2. Let us verify whether the replica 2 got created or not, which is in Mumbai, right? Let me switch to Mumbai region. Databases, and can you see a replica 2? Just let me do a refresh. But the status is still creating. Replica 2 is getting created in Mumbai. If you click on that, you can see the primary is PIT recovery. It is getting replicated from this particular database instance, which is in US East 1. And replica 2 is having a replication source called PIT recovery database instance. From this particular database, it is getting all the data replicated to replica 2. And the role of this is a replica. Every piece of information is available in the, if you click on the database, every piece of information is available under the configurations or details and all the things. And again, to create a database, it will take minimum 5 minutes. In the next session, we are going to create multi-AZ deployments, right? That will take minimum 10 minutes of time to create the database, because in the backend, it has to create all the connections, make sure that active standby, right? To make all these configurations and setups, it takes some time in the back. Okay, let me go back to Northern Virginia. And what I do is I will create one more replica. I will say replica 4. Same procedure, because I want to show some practicals. For that reason, I would like to create PIT recovery, actions, create read replica, replica 4. Okay. I'm creating replica 4 also. Let me refresh. Still the replica 1 is in the modifying state, because we haven't created the replica 3 yet, right? We haven't created replica 3 yet. What we have done now, just we enabled automated backups on the replica 1. Once it is done, then we can create a replica from replica 1. The moment once we create a replica 2 from replica 1, this role will be source comma replica. It works in two different roles. It is a replica for PIT recovery. Also, it is a source for replica 2. That we will verify. What happens this becomes source comma replica. Obviously, this is a replica. Okay, so it's ready, right? Replica 1. Select the replica 1. Actions. Now create read replica option is available. Now what I have done? I created a replica 2 from replica 1. See, you can see the connections also. From point in time PIT recovery database, replica 1 and replica 4 are the replicas. Replica 2 is the replica of replica 1. All are under PIT recovery. but they have some sub replicas, and these are replicas of the PIT recovery. And you can see the role changes from replica to source comma replica. Okay, now I have a questions, and also it will take some time, no need to worry. In the meanwhile, let us talk about a option called promote. There is an option called promote. Any guess what might be that promote is? So if I select something, you can see something called a promote, because the status is not available. That's why it is not highlighted. Can you guess what might be this promote option is? Any guess? Create another replica 4 from the primary DB instance. Okay. Now we have an option called a promote. Can you guess what might be this? This we will use in the case of like disaster recovery, or when you want to clone the environment. In such cases, we will use this particular promote. Whenever you use this promote option, it will convert the read-only replica into a standalone, fully writable RDS instance. I can say when you promote a read replica, which means we are converting a read-only replica into a standalone, fully writable RDS instance. Fully writable RDS instance. What does that mean? Once promoted, what exactly going to happen here is, any guess? There is no replication. Once promoted, replication from the source stops permanently. Means there is no connection between the primary or the source, and the replica becomes independent database instance, and you can use it as a new database instance, like after a failover or whatever. Let me show you here. Let us say if I promoted this one, the moment once I apply promote, now here we have a 10 records, right? All the 10 records exist in all replicas. The moment once you click on promote, what happens here is this will be break. The connection, the replication will be stopped, and there is no connection between the primary and the replica, and this replica becomes instance. The role will be changed from replica to instance. There is one way. There is the one option. And whenever the primary got deleted, which means there is no replication, right? Indirectly, all the replicas will be promoted. The promote we can apply manually, or whenever the primary database got deleted, then the replicas will be promoted automatically. The moment once it happens here, it there is no such thing. It is going to be a standalone. Standalone in the sense this replica, it becomes instance. This becomes instance, and all these 10 records exist as it is, and it works in writable mode. It works in writable mode. And one more thing we forgot, we haven't verified that it is a read-only mode, right? Now what we do is create few records in a replica 1 and confirm that the replicas are running in a read-only mode. We haven't verified that, right? Just theoretically explained that they are read-only mode. See here, I'm on replica 1. Let me write 11, another record. The moment once I click on save, you will get an error. It is trying to create the data into the replica 1 database, but the replica 1 database is in read-only mode. What is the error? The MySQL server is running with the read-only option, so it cannot execute this statement. So from the replica 1, you cannot store any data. Replicas are only for a read-only mode. Okay. Now what I do is just let me connect to the replica 2 or replica 3 also. Let us verify that is also working in read-only mode. It seems I created a replica 2. Okay. Replica 2. Replica 2 is in Mumbai, right? The mistake, what I have, I mean, that's not actually a mistake, a confusion for you guys. It might be. This, I should have given replica 3. I have given same name for 2 different database instances. That's not an issue, but for us as a beginner, it might be get confused. Just consider it as a replica 3, not replica 2. What happened? Okay, I know. Okay, so it seems I am unable to connect to the replica 2. Any guess? I'm sure I'm giving the correct username and password. How to troubleshoot? How can we troubleshoot, or what might be the reason, or what we have to check? This replica 2 is in Mumbai region, right? And in the Mumbai region, we haven't created, or we don't have any security group which allows 3306 traffic. So by default, it is assigned with a default security group which cannot allow 3306 traffic. I suspect that might be the reason, because I have seen these issues many times. But as a beginner, the first thing you have to check the username and password. The second thing you have to check is the security group. Where we need to check the security group, click on your replica, connectivity and security. See here which security group is attached, a default security group. Just get into the default security group in a new tab, which doesn't allow any traffic from outside. But you can see all traffic, but that is only within the VPC. It can't accept traffic from outside. It is only accepting the traffic from within the same security group. You can do edit, add rule. Which traffic? MySQL, anywhere, save, right? And now if I do a retry, it will get connected. See here. 90% the problem is with the security group or the username and password. So I am on the Mumbai RDS instance, replica of replica, right? Let me open and let me try. 11 error, which means you can't edit, even delete doesn't work. I selected few records, click on delete, yes, and you will get an error. Okay, right. So now what we do is, let me go back. Let me go to Northern Virginia. We discussed about the promote, right? Now what we do is, let us promote our replica 4 or something. Let us promote a replica and we'll observe what exactly is going to happen. Which one I will promote replica 4. I will promote replica 4. Also, there is a point. Whenever the primary got deleted, then all the replicas of that primary will get promoted automatically. Will get promoted automatically. Okay, first what we do is promote the replica 4. Promote the replica 4. So before promoting, let me connect to the replica 4 also. Here is the endpoint, replica 2, new connection, new replica 4. Okay, endpoint, username, connect. So as per the diagram, the replica of replica should be replica 3, but at the time of creation I have given as a replica 2. Just don't get confused, just adjust with the terminology. Okay, this is replica 4. Here is the data, open table, and you can't write, you can't delete and all. Yes, you should get error. But once it got promoted, you can do all these operations. Let us verify that. So now let us promote replica 4 and observe the role changes to instance. Okay, so how to do that? Select the database which you would like to promote. Click on actions, promote, and see, enable automated backups, minimum one day as a retention period. Backup window, you have to choose promote read replica. Promote read replica, which will take some time. It won't happen within 1 second or so. It will take some time. Once it got promoted, the role will becomes instance. And also I said, whenever you delete the primary, the associated replicas will be promoted. That's correct? Yes. That also will verify. See here, what happened? Instance. And what is the status? Modifying. So let me go back to our image. What exactly happened? The replica 2 got promoted, not replica 2. Replica 4, right? We promoted replica 4, which means the connection got disconnected and the replica becomes instance, which operates in read and write mode. And there is no connection between the above database. It is isolated. It acts as a standalone database. It acts as a standalone database. That's what here, and you can see it is getting rebooted because all the configurations to takes place. Amazon RDS service will reboot that particular promoted database. And once it got rebooted, it fully works as a standalone database instance. So what all we have to verify? First this instance, then create few records into replica 4 and observe it works in fully writable mode. Once again, Okay. Yeah, we have to verify, but for that, let us wait until the replica 4. You can see backing up because every database requires an initial backup. Just we enabled automated backup, right? So automatically it is creating a backup. Now replica 4, right? Let me add some data, name 11. Can you see what's happening? I'm on the replica 4 and we promoted the replica 4 only, and you can see all the data is getting created. Got saved. Let me delete a few records because it acts as a standalone database instance. See, if you want to test, just you can refresh. It will get a fresh copy from the replica 4. This is how you can promote. And also what I said, whenever the primary database instance got deleted, automatically the associated databases will be promoted, right? Okay, let me connect to the replica 3 also. Actually, the replica 3 is the replica of replica. But naming I have chosen a wrong naming. Sorry for that. Okay, now my question is, so I will delete this one, no worries. Okay, I will clean up. So what I said, if you delete this one, all the replicas will be promoted, right? Now, based on this image, can you guess what happens to replica 1, replica 2, and replica 3? What all are getting promoted? If I delete the primary database instance, what database instances will get promoted? 1, 2, 3, or only 1, or only 1 and 2, or only 2 and 3? So here, the immediate replicas will be promoted, not all sub replicas and all. What are the replicas of your primary database? This is the primary, right? Like this. What are the replicas of primary? Replica 1 and replica 2, not the replica 3, right? The moment once you delete these two will be promoted. These two will be promoted. So what happens? See here, replica 2 will become instance because it doesn't have any replicas, and this will become primary for replica 3 because it is not going to act as a replica for primary. It doesn't have any source, right? So this will become primary for replica 3. It will become a primary for replica 3. That's what we are going to check. So replica 3 is still acting as a read-only mode, right? After that also it acts as a primary. Let me delete, which is not possible. Yeah. So now what we are going to do is delete the primary database instance, which is PIT recovery, and observe that the replica 1 and replica 2 got promoted automatically. Also, observe that the role of the replica 1 becomes primary. Earlier it was source comma replica, and now it becomes a primary. Why? Why? Because replica 1 has a replica and it is no more a replica for PIT recovery. That's the reason. It is no more a replica. That's why this will becomes nullified. Then source for replica 3, right? Replica 3, replica 3 or replica 2, whatever. Replica 3. Okay. Now let us see how to promote. What we are going to do, just deletion, right? See here, I'm going to delete this one. Select the PIT recovery actions, delete. I don't want any final snapshot. I don't want to retain automated backups. I'm acknowledging, and then type delete space me and click on delete. This is getting deleted. What all we have to check? Replica 1, this is actual replica 3, and replica 2 is in Mumbai. Replica 1 and replica should get promoted. This is the one which I selected is replica 3. Let me refresh. What happened? It is a primary. Replica 1 is a primary of replica 3. Now let me go to Mumbai, and that should become instance. Replica 2 should become instance. The role of replica 3 is still a replica because it is a replica of replica 1. Okay, let me refresh the page. Still, it is a replica. Okay, no issues. Let me go back to Northern Virginia. We'll verify this also. Take some time. See, it is getting deleted and there is no connection. All the associated replicas will be automatically promoted. If it has a replica, that will become a primary. If it doesn't have any other replicas, that becomes an instance. Definitely, it will take a few more minutes, but once you are done with all the things, you have to delete each and every database instance, or else you will end up with a huge bill by end of the month. And now I have a question. What happens if I delete the replica 1? If I delete this replica 1, what happens? It will be promoted. What happens? It becomes instance. That also will verify. Anyways, we have to delete all database instances, right? Then I will delete this replica 1. Then I will delete this replica 2 also. See, replica 1 is getting rebooted. Once it got rebooted, I will delete the replica 1 also. And let me go to Mumbai just to check the status of replica 2. See, instance. It got promoted automatically. Okay, now Northern Virginia. Delete replica 1 and observe that the associated replica 3 got a promoted to instance role. Then delete replica 2 and replica 4, all everything actually, replica 2, replica 3 and replica 4. Why? Just a cleanup. Okay, right. So here, let me delete the replica 1. See, it's a primary and it's a replica, right? This is a replica 3. Actions, delete. I don't need any final snapshot. I don't want to retain any automated backups. I acknowledge that I lose everything. For confirmation, type delete space me and click on delete. Now the replica 3 becomes instance. This is the replica 3, it becomes instance. See here. Same way, let me delete this replica 4. Let me delete this, delete. Right. And in the meanwhile, let me go to Mumbai and let me delete that also. Instance, right? Replica 2. This is replica 2. You can add some data. Also, you can delete. See here, right? That's replica 2. And replica 1, let me refresh. You will get an error. Why? Because the replica 1 is no longer exist. It is trying to reach the replica 1 to fetch the data. As there is no such database exist, you will get an error. Even the same way with the PIT recovery. There is no such database exist, right? See here, error. Because there is no such database exist. This is Mumbai, right? Let me delete the replica 2. Okay. Let me go back to the Northern Virginia. That's exists. Replica 3 still exists. This is the one, replica 3. Let me delete that also. This is how you can clean up. So are you guys clear with replica concept or any questions? Any questions on replicas, replica concept? Okay, so if you guys are clear, let us stop the session here. And in the tomorrow session, let us talk about multi-AG deployments. So we have a multi-AZ DB instance, multi-AG DB cluster. Let us discuss about that, and we will deploy the databases using both deployment strategies. Okay, right. Thank you, everyone. We'll continue tomorrow.